Hello and welcome back, it's me Frukuru, and today we're finally doing episode 4 of the B tier unit series. We've been looking at Tyrrell, and I think it's safe to say that I actually quite like him as a unit, and he's kind of exceeded my expectations in a few fields. So I don't want to regurgitate everything I've done in the previous videos. If you haven't tuned in, you can have a look at them, they're on the channel. But to summarize it, episode 1 we kind of looked at why we were going to build him and what we were expecting from him. Episode 2 kind of realized what his limitations were a little bit more and what he was going to be good at, and we kind of tailored our expectations. We took him into the EX quest where we add him as a tank with Vow of Love, just to see how durable he'd be and kind of if he'd be able to carry his own weight in the front line, and he did pretty well. He was really badly leveled and under optimized, and he died right at the end, but we did take him back in the next episode and he did a lot better. We kind of unlocked his Viking abilities, and that was the spec we decided to use to farm with, kind of due to its range, cheap abilities and stuff like that. So originally my plan had been to take him back into the EX stage with our team of terrible units. What we were doing was we were kind of using him as if we were on a new account or a really casual account, where he's actually going to be one of our main use units as opposed to just using him in specialized content like the tower. We wanted to kind of see if he would be useful just in everyday content. And the general consensus, I think, is he's good. Like he's doesn't okay. So you have to understand him as a character. He's not going to be like your super big damage. He's not going to be your super hate generating tank. He doesn't have that in his kit. What he does have is a very kind of all-rounder frontline unit. He's got a bit of damage. He's quite durable. He's got a lot of kind of breaks and status debuffs he can put on the enemy. So he's kind of like, in a lot of ways, kind of like Dark Ramza almost, with the nappy, as someone pointed out, which I can't unsee now, and that's really kind of annoying me. But yeah, we took him to Limit Break 5 and we got his TMR, which we're using on him now. We did a little bit more work on his job, still nothing too notable, a lot of work to do, and we've got a lot of maxing out to do in the min-maxing. We got his resonance with his Esper, which we're using Golem right now for. We got that up to 10. The Esper itself is not awoken yet, so it's still quite low. So there's a lot of work to be done. And originally I had planned to take him back into the EX stage for you, and we were going to kind of see how he did with the team. But when I was kind of testing around with it, it wasn't that notable. He was like a lot tankier, obviously, with his stats. He did a lot more damage. But I guess the most important thing I noticed was his behavior. And if we actually go into the far plane, and we go into the event, take the EX stage, and we put him in by itself. This was one of the tests I actually did because I wanted to see how kind of durable he was getting. And what I noticed was, while he was really, really strong, he has an issue where he's hyper aggressive, which is not always a bad thing, but he has, say, his Drain Cyclone, which, attacks around him and absorbs damage that he deals. And this was kind of one of his really cool skills that stood out to me at the start, because, he's going to be a low fate unit. And that means that he's not going to benefit as much from like kind of beefy heals from my healing units. So the option to kind of sustain and look after himself with that move really kind of stood out to me, and I thought it was really cool. The other move was Launch, which you've seen already in this little playthrough here. And that's able to one-shot these kind of trash mobs now, which is quite nice. It's got a bit of range. But the problem is, due to his behavior, he dumps his AP into Launch, and then he just auto-attacks. And when he needs to kind of Cyclone to sustain himself, he doesn't perform this action due to a lack of AP. And that's kind of a bit of a bummer. You're also going to notice that he's got access to a really nice Viking buff to get his attack and defense up, but he doesn't cast that at all. He just kind of goes ham. This isn't as big an issue kind of when you're in a party with people, and you're getting buffs from other stuff, and he's able to kind of auto attack to finish off units. But it is important to note that you're not gonna be able to kind of farm multis with this guy, at least not this one anyway. So that's something to note. I'm going to retreat out of that because I don't want him to die and lose more bravery, because I was still working on kind of leveling that up, and it's a very painstaking, boring process, I find. So yeah, try and spare ourselves some pain there. So yeah, we'll go back into the unit, and just to comment on the skills, what I've noticed is as well, on the rare occasion where he spawns where he can't attack from the get-go, he will buff, but it will not be Rebellious Spirit. It will not be this level 15, very juicy attack and defense for 3 turns. No. It's going to be Divine Healing, this little stone throw buff, and this is kind of unfortunate. We will be able to turn this off eventually when we can toggle skills, and this will be the first thing to go for me, I think. And then that should get us a little bit more value out of that, which is kind of going to buff us all around. Drain Cyclone, as I said, the AP cost, it's too high, it's 28, and he just doesn't build up enough to actually get this out. Now, what I am thinking is if I had a really high level Esper on him that he had resonance with, if I had a maxed decent attack weapon, have more cards in my party that are going to kind of give him the damage to basically kill stuff with his auto attacks, then he's probably going to manage his AP just a little bit better. And with that, he might be able to actually kind of use more of his kit like Drain Cyclone and stuff like that. But I think in a lot of like the content that you're going to be expecting that for, if you're going to be running it with other units, he's probably not going to need to use this anyway because they're going to die. So we're not particularly looking at Viking for manual play. So the only thing I really wanted this for was to see if he could solo stuff and sustain himself, and that's not really going to be the case. So maybe if we do like complete max him out and we don't need to rely on external vision cards other than what he has and we get his Esper up, that might be viable. But I'm going to say for now, unless you're investing everything in him, I probably wouldn't rely on that at all. Having said that, what we really kind of wanted him for was specific hard content like in the tower, and we do have the knight subclass for that, which comes with the breaks, and these are going to be extremely useful. This is kind of where I think he's really going to shine as a unit, because not only is he going to be up on the front line taking damage and taking it quite well, but he's also going to be able to reduce the amount of damage that he's taking as well, and the other tank. So that's going to work really well in tandem, and I think that's going to be kind of that's going to be how I'm going to be using him anyway. Just to note, I did kind of notice this obliterate skill here, and this is just theory. I don't know how well it's going to work in practice, but if we came up against a really strong enemy, say in the tower, that had weakness to Doom, or we could get a Doom off on it, I think it would be quite a nice tactic to kind of poke him with the Doom, CC him with a unit that can lock him down, and just let him die. It'll save us a lot of skills, especially when they're limited, like in the tower. It'll save us a lot of AP, churning those skills off. I think that could be quite useful. Again, niche. But I think the one thing I really take away from this guy is he's got a really diverse kit. You can use him for farming, you can use him for breaking and hard content, you can use him for this little Doom. All his jobs, they're all good in one way, shape, or form. And it's just going to be the situation that you need. You're just going to have to toggle him a little bit. He's not going to be a unit where you just lock him into one kind of spec and he does everything perfect in that. Although there's not a lot of units that do that anyway, so that shouldn't be strange. But he's not an Orlando where you can kind of just stomp everything with him. That's not what he's built for. But he's going to really help out the team. So I think with that, I'm going to call it with this episode. We'll probably take a look at him again when we kind of have him more maxed out and I get that Esper up a little bit. My resources, unfortunately, had to go a little bit into Gafgarian recently with the raid that was going on. Not that that did me too much good in the end, but it did get us to the point where we were able to get the materials to get the defense cloak. I did wrong thing here. Did a video earlier in the raid, and I was commenting that I'd got a few of these coats from the recipes, or the robes, but they were all the vital kind. But I did finally get a shield one today, so I'm just going to probably try and +3 this, and then I am outie. I'm done with that raid forever and ever until it comes back again. So yeah, I'll leave you anyway with that. Thanks very much for watching as always. Hope your pulls are lucky. Take care. Any questions in the comments, as always, just fire away. See ya.